For my midterm argument presentation, I will be looking at the idea of community in the United States and in India. I was brought to this idea by this question: what characterizes a sense of community in both the story set in India and the story set in the US? What maintains that sense? What disrupts it? So as somebody who grew up in both the Indian and American communities, I always felt like I had two homes, two worlds, and I could never find the connection between the two, nor could I figure out which one I identified with more. I struggled because I lived on the hyphen between Indian and American. Reading the Interpreter of Maladies really helped me with this because I saw other people and characters experiencing the same conflicts I did, and seeing how they approached their lives, relationships, and the stark contrast between the US and India helped me characterize the two communities I've been a part of, and I came up with this thesis. In The Interpreter of Maladies, the story Mrs. Sens, which is set in both India and the US, exemplifies the differences in characterization of community between the US and India because it highlights a conflicting core set of principles, demonstrates the contradictory reasons for neighborhood interactions, and elucidates the contrasting nature of familial relationships. But before we go into how to characterize a community, we need to define what a community is, and I came up with three criteria. The first is uniting behind a purpose or an attitude. This basically means coming behind something for a specific reason, why things are normally accepted or culturally accepted. And this basically happens because people in a community have a shared mentality or mindset. The second is building upon each other and learning from each other. This is the idea that everyone in a community contributes and augments each other, and this reliance creates a sense of trust. The third is shared goals and values. In a community, because people are living in the same circumstances usually and have similar upbringings, this is going to show in a shared set of cultural beliefs or cultural values. And these aspects are going to translate into some things being more important to others than other things. So as I just said, people who live in a certain place are going to have a shared set of priorities or things that they deem more important than the others. In the Interpreter of Maladies, this manifests itself as work-life balance. So we've all heard of work-life balance. It's the balance between being highly dedicated to one's job and living a healthy life. Different communities place different levels of importance on each of these ideas, which characterizes their atmosphere and mentality. The first quote says, "I have a meeting in 20 minutes," he said, staring at the dashboard as she spoke. "Please do not waste time." This characterizes the American approach. Though it seems straightforward, Mr. Sen, who lives in the US, is scared of being late for work. It's a simple statement that a lot of the US citizens might be able to identify with, but it highlights a uniquely American work culture. In the US, Americans live to work, and this ideology is present here. Instead of being in the moment with his wife, Mr. Sun is thinking 20 minutes into the future where he has to get to work. This type of work-first attitude molds American community, as there are many people who have this mentality of putting their jobs over everything else, creating a cultural norm where everything else can be traded in favor of dedicating more time to work. The second quote says, "In the supermarket, I can feed a cat 32 dinners from one of the 32 tins, but I can never find a single fish I like, never a single." This is Mrs. Sun's response to Elliot's mother's suggestion to get a fish from the supermarket. She basically says that the fish in the supermarket are worthy of cats, not humans. They're simply not good. Though this may seem like a personal preference, it highlights the same work-life balance. Um, for most Americans, they see the supermarket as a regular place to get food because it's convenient. It's easy to run and grab something because it takes minimal time away from more pressing things, namely work. But to Mrs. Sen, who's desperate to hold on to her Indian values, this makes no sense. She wants the best quality fish to consume, not to impress anyone, just because it's more enjoyable to eat. So the contradiction of work and life comes up here. She's working to live. She wants to do the things she deems to be most enjoyable. So between work and life, we see two very different ideologies between the US and India, which translate into contrasting communities. Since communities are comprised of people with similar approaches to everything, in this case work, we see two completely different cultures emerging. One is characterized by work over everything, and the other by living over everything. Having people who strongly believe in these ideas maintain the community. It would be broken in the US if people all of a sudden started switching to a life first mindset. And in the US, the life first mindset would be broken if people suddenly stopped doing little things and only cared about their job. In both cases, the characterization is maintained through community, through the community placing an importance on a given idea or mindset and wanting to live within that idea. And it would be broken if people started to act in contrary. So the next thing I'm going to talk about are neighborhood interactions, basically the way that we interact and communicate with those living in the houses around us, which varies a lot person to person, but there are trends in the community. In The Interpreter of Maladies, this is manifested as Indian interactions being more familial and American interactions being more need-dependent. So this is first quote characterizes Indian interactions. It says, "Whenever there is a wedding in the family," she told Eliot one day, "or a large celebration of any kind, my mother sends out word in the evening for all the neighborhood women to bring blades, just like this one. And then they sit in an enormous circle on the roof of our building, laughing and gossiping and slicing 50 kilos of vegetables through the night." This shows how interactions happen in India. Here, Mrs. Sen is explaining to Eliot the nature of large events in the community and how they bring the whole neighborhood together to prepare the food while simply talking to each other. In this moment, Lahiri is trying to convey a feeling, one of belonging and togetherness, the idea that people are so connected they act like a single person, doing one task together. This idea translates into a community that is maintained by the willingness of neighbors to work together and to come together as one. It would be disrupted if people automatically started assuming a selfish attitude in which they weren't observant or caring to those around them. This type of get together wouldn't be possible without a family type of neighborhood. This next quote says he was to call the neighbors in case of emergency and to let himself into the beach after school. This characterizes neighborhood interactions in the US. It describes Eliot's relationship with his neighbors as to only help him in an emergency or let him into his house. This type of relationship is quite distant and relies on minimal contact between neighbors, fostering a community based on reclusiveness rather than one of togetherness. When contrasted with the other quote in the community of India, we see two distinct neighborhood settings with distinct type of relationships, highlighting a difference in interactions and reliance on each other. In America, we see interactions that are characterized by circumstance, not a want to be together. Based on these interactions, we see Indian communities tend to be very tight-knit and based on mutual reliance and openness. But And it is maintained by a cultural norm that people are meant to work, celebrate, and grieve together, and it would be disrupted if people started to keep to themselves, which is what happens in the US. Here, communities tend to be less together and have more of an internal focus, only relying on each other in times of need, not small things. This ties to the US focus on work and professionalism, and is maintained through a self-interested attitude in which people are placing their personal needs first. Finally, let's take a look at family relationships in the US and India. These are highly important to the characterization of communities as family norms tend to be passed down over generations, and the way in which people are brought up inform how they act in the future. In this book, we see a self-sufficient type of attitude in regards to children in the US, while a more nurturing, motherly one appear in India. So both the quotes I'm about to read describe a typical weeknight meal, one in the Indian fashion and the other in American fashion. Even though the subject matter is very similar, they create an image that's very different. The first quote said, "Brimming bowls and colanders were lined the countertop, spices and paste were measured and blended, and eventually a collection of broth simmered over periwinkle flames on the stove. It was never a special occasion, nor was she expecting company. It was merely a dinner for herself and Mr. Sen." This quote characterizes a traditional Indian meal. The quote is describing a daily meal in the Sen household. Mrs. Sen is making a few dishes for her and her husband to enjoy. Though this can be seen as a wife doing something kind for her husband, it's more than that. Mrs. Sen grew up in India, where it's common to consume elaborate multi-course dinners nightly. To her, dinner is a meal that should be prepared and shared with the family, elucidating strong family bonds and a want to maintain them. This characterizes Indian community as most family units have bonds that are very difficult to break and last for a long time because they built in family time and reliance into their daily schedules. The second quote says, "She wasn't hungry for pizza that they ordered for dinner. She sat at the table as he ate, drinking more wine and asking how his day was, but eventually she went to the deck to smoke a cigarette, leaving Eliot to wrap up the leftovers." This quote characterizes a typical night in the American household. The quote describes Eliot's mom ordering dinner but being too stressed to eat and opting for alcohol and then leaving in the middle of the meal. It shows a starkly different image to the one in the previous quote. This family isn't built on togetherness, nor do they do small things for each other. Instead, they're quite isolated and singularly focused. Though this might seem like a terrible thing, it actually means that Eliot is going to grow up to be very self-sufficient, something that is deemed very important in American society, at least in response to the Wilhite article, which deems it to be the bastion of virtue. Kids experiencing this type of a setting for dinner from a young age are going to learn how to rely on themselves and not their parents for small nominal tasks, creating a community built on oneself and being able to sustain individually. Upbringing and how families interact is cornerstone to the type of community that is going to be augmented. Norms, routines, and relationships are sprung from family, and in this book we see two completely different characterizations. In India, we see a focus on bringing a family together, while in the US, we see a focus on self-sufficiency and each family member being able to do everything for themselves. So basically, this presentation was meant to ask what characterizes communities in the US versus India. In the interpreter of maladies, I basically said the communities are different because of the way that we see priorities, the way that we see neighborhood interactions, and the way that we see familial relationships. Communities are based on circumstances and a change in cultural norms, interactions, and expectations. Though there are parallels of things that make a community, communities in the US are characterized by an emphasis on work, self-sufficiency, and self-sufficiency, while communities in India are characterized by a focus on life, family bonds, and dependency. Communities are maintained by the people who live in them and the practices they incorporate into their daily life. As somebody who has lived in both of these communities, I see aspects of the Indian community and the American community in the way I approach life, and I'm now okay with having two communities that I'm a part of.